Public hearing for the town. I'd ask everybody to silence your cell phones and please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Bill's getting the sign-in sheet. I'm sorry, Councilman Guyman. Do you need to read the public hearing?
Okay, notice of public hearing, preliminary budget of the town of Lewiston for the year 2018 and fiscal assessment rolls. Notice is hereby given that the preliminary budget of the town of Lewiston for the fiscal year 2018, including general town funds, highway funds, fire protection district funds, and lighting district funds, has been completed and filed in the office of the town clerk of the town of Lewiston, 1375 Ridge Road, where it is available for public inspection by any interested person during normal business hours. The town board of the town of Lewiston will hold a public hearing on said preliminary budget on Monday, October 30th, 2017, beginning at 6 p.m. at the Lewiston Town Hall. At such hearing, any person may be heard in favor of or against the preliminary budget as compiled, or for or against any item or items therein contained. The following are the proposed 2018 salaries of certain town officials of the town of Lewiston. Supervisor, $41,906. Council members, 4 of them, $13,856. Highway superintendent, $70,181. Town clerk, $62,192. Town justices, there's 2 for $27,399. A public hearing will also be held at the same date, place, and time specified above on the amounts to be raised by taxation for special districts, special assessment rolls, having been prepared and filed for all benefit districts, at which public hearing all interested parties who wish to be heard will be heard. By order of the town board, October 12th, 2017.
Thank you, Donna. We'll start with Rosemary Warren.
Didn't get to do all of it because I'm getting old and tired. But anyway, on your 2018 budget, you've got casino revenue. On page 8, it's going to be. Now, 2016, you actually got $61,000. I didn't know the town even got casino money. It was like a well-kept secret to me. I thought just the city of Niagara Falls got it. So, 2017, you budgeted $75,000. Now, I guess because they don't want to pay anybody, you're going to get 0. And 2018, you've got 0. So, I don't know that. I didn't know you ever got money from that. The next one, page 8, ice skating revenue, ice rink revenue, and of course I'm for outdoor activities. Now, 2016, the actual was $14,977, $14,000. 2017, you budgeted $37,000. Now, it's a little difficult to do the whole year because you end up, you have to, 9/11/17. So, in 3 months, you expect to receive, the ice rink people expect to receive in 3 months $24,000 or something. I think there needs to be a little more realistic budgeting in the parks and recreation. I've always thought this, because later on, you'll be transferring money in and out. Yeah, I call it creative accounting. I've never been too much for that. Page 9, I only got to about page 11. You got administrative fees for the power allocation. Now, granted, I've been getting some thank yous because I run around telling people, you got it for me. And a couple of people threw it away.
Not a couple, a lot more.
Because they thought it was KeyBank asking to open up a charge thing, so whatever. Okay, so the administrative fee for the power allocation was $5,000 in 2016. Budgeted 2017, $5,000. Now, the other thing about this is you renewed this ECA. Now, you're still paying them, I guess you're back to $5,000. You're paying them to still get the monies coming in. The money's still coming in. It's going to be 50 years altogether, and maybe we've used up 10, probably. So I won't live to see the end of it. Well, I may, up there. Look down on you, see what you're doing. Okay, so you signed a contract with ECA for 5 years, but I'm wondering if that money is coming out of the money we're getting from the Power Authority people or not. See, I'm wondering where ECA, or if it comes out of your general fund. Now, usually you don't answer questions. Sometimes people nod their head up and down, whatever. Okay, again, this page 9, some of this may not make any sense to you, but transferring from other funds the ice rink. 2017, it was $53,000. That's, I think, what they're asking for. The change looks like there's money coming in and money going out from the recreation department to the ice rink and back and forth. I just, I don't know. I'm going to send some of the pages to the controller to let him look at it. Then he may not be looking at this for a long time, maybe never, I don't know. The attorney, your litigation in 2016 was $95,000. 2017, you budgeted $169,000. That's up $51,000. Now, you might have some pending litigation, problems with workers, I don't know what you got going on there. But 2018, only $139,000. You're bringing her back a little bit. But I'm thinking too, there's going to be more attorney fees with this water district consolidation, because they aren't here tonight, but Mr. Catalano and the other gentleman, Brian there, it's not going to be them doing that. It's going to be Brian Seaman coming back to do the water district. So we really, I mean, Brian's a wonderful person, but I thought when he left us for good and was over in Royalton. But really he isn't, because he started the water district work, I guess, and he probably needs to finish it up, because these two fellas must not want to get into it. So, they said, that's going to be it. So the litigation has nothing to do with this, but I still think there's going to be more attorney fees with the water district. And the Niagara Power Coalition, still paying them $9,000. I thought we were almost done with them too. So I only got as far as page 11. That's all, and I hope, does anybody else have anything to say?
We have a letter, we have some correspondence.
Oh, correspondence, we're going to hear that?
Yes.
Okay, I wonder if I need a hearing aid device to hear all that. Oh.
Okay, if nobody else has signed up to speak, Donna's going to read a letter from Paulette Glasgow.
Dated October 18, 2017. Honorable Board, please forgive me for not being able to present these remarks in person, but at present I'm at home recovering from surgery and would like these remarks read into the record at the October 30th public hearing on the Town of Lewiston 2018 budget. As I've often commented, one of your duties is to ensure the health, safety, and general welfare of the residents of the Town of Lewiston. This, at times, is not an easy duty, but it is a duty that comes with the office you occupy. But how do these three items relate to the annual budget? In order to ensure the health, safety, and general welfare of our community, in order to ensure the health, safety, and general welfare of our community is maintained, you must exercise fiscal due diligence by appropriating for services that are essential to maintain quality of life. Health, water, sewer and drainage, safe and passable roads, and police and fire services that will not only protect us and those we love. The third element of your responsibility, promote general welfare, is as important as the other two, because it concerns protecting the financial concerns of those you serve. Former town boards got this right because they understood these responsibilities by denoting what was an essential service and what was not. Over the past year, I have watched as special interests, both within and without of town government, blur the meaning of essential services and in the process cause Lewiston residents to be faced with undue financial hardship. Looking at this proposed 2018 budget, one sees the continuance of a town tax, but not a decrease of appropriation for non-essential services, causing undue financial hardship to our seniors and those who live paycheck to paycheck. What are some of these non-essential services? Last year, you made the right decision not to fund the ice rink at Academy Park, but special interests pressured you into appropriating funding. First, it must be said, here it is illegal for any town employee to solicit funding using public resources such as town website or letterheads. Understanding the town board have busy lives, that is exactly what happened in 2017. A town employee utilized public resources to act as a fundraiser. I would hope that in 2018, the town board would discourage such activities and hand over the operations and maintenance of the Academy Park ice rink to the community sponsors who raised nearly $90,000 to not only run the ice rink, but extended the skating season. Should these citizens choose not to once again volunteer their services, there are numerous public ice rinks around Lewiston. For example, Dwyer Arena at Niagara University offers public indoor skating. There is free public skating at DeVoe Woods and Reservoir State Park, which also has a building that could be rented for all sorts of activities. At a time when the Parks and Recreation Director is asking for funding to construct a building to store equipment for $80,000, along with what is in several dormant capital accounts, could be utilized to have that building become a reality. Further, you are considering the construction of a dog shelter. To some, this may be an essential service, but to the Lewiston taxpayers, it is a long-range expense. True, both the dog shelter and ice rink can be funded using NYPA funding along with grants, but money from these sources cannot be used to pay salaries or future maintenance, operation, and possible liabilities that cost would be passed down to the Lewiston taxpayers. Several months ago, it was questioned why the town was hiring individuals to full-time positions that become vacant. A glance at the proposed 2018 budget shows the escalating increase the town must pay for retirement, unemployment, and workers' compensation. Although the laying off of an individual is a tough decision, your responsibility is to ensure the Lewiston taxpayer isn't burdened with undue financial hardship. For example, do we really need a non-resident junior accountant? For many, many years, the finances were done by two individuals, the supervisor as chief fiscal officer and the finance director, who at times performed this job on a part-time basis. Some will say there is a need for 3 individuals to oversee and manage our finances, but common sense tells you that if you need 3 people to do the finances, either someone isn't doing their job or this position was once again filled via nepotism. This job was originally created so that the individual could receive retirement benefits, which the Lewiston taxpayers are paying for. Former Supervisor Brochet and one member of the present town board, realizing it was a needless position, voted to have it abolished and in the process save the taxpayers money. But for some reason, this position is being funded even though it has never received a reinstatement of civil service approval. I urge the town board to once again remove funding for the junior accountant and return this money to the general fund. Should the need arise for assistance in the finance office, quite possibly you might want to do as the assessors does and hire someone as a temp. The town would only have to incur the cost of salary and not benefits, which could be a cost savings. Previously, I've inquired why there is a need for so many lawyers. And just to be crystal clear, I am not questioning the funding for the $50,000 set aside for CWM litigation. I am questioning why we need a labor lawyer to negotiate contracts, 2 town lawyers, and 1 to oversee the 100 million water line project.
10.
10 million. Okay. Some will say there is a need for this legal advice, yet in the past, previous town boards hired 1 or 2 lawyers that handled all aspects of the law. Further, by centering all legal work on the particular law firm, you might not be realizing a cost savings by seeking competitive bids for all the services you need. Several months ago, the highway superintendent came to you with a request to find funds to purchase a paver. After much discussion, funds were moved around and a paver was purchased. But could this exercise have been done a bit easier and in the process provide a revenue stream for the highway department that would use this revenue to purchase future highway equipment? For example, under the present relicensing agreement, the over $2 million now sitting in H97 could have been used to purchase this paver. Section 4.6 of the agreement reads as follows: funds shall be expended to promote public safety. Having a paver that enables the public to have safe, passable roads would be an approved reason to utilize the over $2 million sitting in this capital account. Once purchased, the town could lease out this paver to other municipalities just as the county does, and in the process create a revenue stream. The funds from this lease could be deposited into a dedicated account to be used to purchase future highway equipment. For several years, the town has received from Niagara County and the town of Cambria funding to operate our senior van. As I've said in the past, the $10,000 received annually should go into a dedicated fund that would accumulate and be utilized to purchase a replacement van. In the past, we have relied on the possibilities of a grant being made available. As we learned in 2016, when a grant was submitted to the state and rejected, we shouldn't rely on grants to provide a van for our seniors. The solution to having the funding in place to purchase a future van should be, as was done in the past, to establish a dedicated fund to purchase a future van from the $10,000 the town receives annually. Part of the budget process is to include within the budget a 3 or 5 year facilities capital plan, the goal of which a plan would be to collect, coordinate, and prioritize future needs for the town's infrastructure and facilities. The finance director has previously gathered this information from department heads, and these needs, along with a proposed finance plan, should have been included in the 2018 budget. By doing this during the budgetary process, it lightens the load for the finance office because both the budget and capital plan would be approved at the same time. A capital plan along with a fund balance policy is something I inquired about last year, and your external auditors strongly recommended be formulated, yet this has yet to be done. The purpose of the fund balance policy is to carefully account for, manage, and plan the funding for services desired by the public. Further, by establishing a fund balance policy, you make available surplus finances for economic development and new streams of revenue, which your external auditors strongly suggested you seek. Lastly, as I brought to your attention last year, and as I do again, there is over $40,000 sitting in dormant accounts. Last year I was told that before money from these accounts could be moved, you had to first determine what they were there for and if they would be needed in the future. It's now a year later and these accounts are still dormant and money is sitting in them unused. Once again, I request the money in these accounts, if they are not needed, be withdrawn and placed back into the general fund. Further, sitting in H28 and H29 is nearly $160,000 that has been sitting in these accounts for many years. The money in these accounts should be withdrawn and utilized to construct a public safety building that would alleviate the police department's need for storage while functioning as a fire and hazmat facility. The town, as has been said many times by your external auditors, must not simply rely on tipping fees and grants in order to run the town and provide the public with essential services. The use of these dormant accounts along with finding long-range revenue streams will lessen the financial burden that is passed down to the Lewiston taxpayer. Thank you very much for your time, and I would appreciate these remarks being read into and be part of the official record of the town of Lewiston at the October 30th, 2018 public hearing on the annual budget.
Thank you, Donna. I'll give you a break.
Thank you.
We have another correspondence from Town of Lewiston Parks and Recreation Director Mike Dashinow. On October 30th, 2017, honorable members of the town board, my apologies for not being able to make tonight's meeting. In response to questions about ice rink funding included in the 2018 town budget, please note that the ice rink funding is outside of normal town budget funding and will be supported using only funds derived from revenue at the rink earned from the current year's operation as well as previous year's operation revenue. From 2011 to 2016, the ice rink raised revenue with the goal of buying out the lease to own agreement that was in place. These funds went into H49. There is currently about $75,000 remaining in that account after the buyout of the lease. This money is currently used to support the rink operation beyond the cost of the rink minus revenue raised by its operation. Last year, the cost of the rink out of the previous year's revenue was about $16,000, as the rink itself supported about $55,000 in fees and sponsorships. It is our goal to keep the rink solvent and of no burden to the town budget this season and in the future. I hope this answers any questions on where the funds come from that are used to support the rink, and that's from Mike Dashinow. Would anybody else like to speak on the 2018 proposed budget? Yes, please.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.